So, hi there, friends. My name's Eli, and I am your host of this Text to Connect Canada event. Today, we are going to go deep into event sponsorship. And so, to go through that topic today, we brought in Lori, who is going to talk about how you can transform your event based fundraising approach to go from simply raising funds to actually inspiring support, amplifying your voice, and expanding possibilities for your organization. Give it up for Lori.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your program. And this is the opportunity here today for us to move in a little closer and talk about event sponsorship. Event sponsorship can raise a lot of money for you. And I am going to give you your pass today because, yes, you can power up your event sponsorships and push your event fundraising over the top. So let's go ahead and roll through this. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat bot, just like Eli had told you. I have Ali from the Octria team here also to put in some educational links as we move along. And Eli is kind enough to share some links afterwards for any follow ups that are necessary. And then you're going to provide a replay, correct?
100%. You're going to get the slides, the video. It's all going to come at you probably by the end of today. So it's going to come at you fast.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's why I hang out with you. So just a little bit about me. Octria itself has been around since 2011. I started using Octria, like Eli said, for my son's school when he was in second grade. He is now graduating from college. So that just gives you a visual of how many years I've been here hanging out, how many years I've been at Octria, and how many years I've been running event fundraisers in my own backyard and neighborhood. And I get to see everybody's events that are happening here at Octria. So I've brought along a lot of tangible pieces for you to look at. Octria is just celebrating our 15-year anniversary, and we're celebrating you guys out there. You guys are the community change makers, and they have raised collectively over 1.25 B with a billion dollars. If you're part of the Octria family, let me take my hat off to you and thank you. And if you're not, come on along. Happy to help you raise those money, those dollars. And then if for chance you need a platform, we can help you out there too. So let's first start. Go ahead and put in the chat. Tell me a little bit about your sponsorship situation that you have going on. Are you doing sponsorships at all? Yes, no. Are you doing them a little bit? You're a little shaky. You're doing sponsorships well, but you're looking to elevate that a little higher. I'd love to know what you're thinking. And wait for you guys to punch that in as we talk about the agenda. Events are activators for sponsorships as well as for attendees. And it fits together like a puzzle. And here's how. How we're going to talk about how events activate people. We're going to talk about the who and the why. We're going to talk about effective sponsorship packages, storytelling, recognition, and how sponsorship is just the start. Because we are going to strengthen your event because it will strengthen your financials. And it's just one big domino and snowball that happens. And you'll see as we develop this conversation throughout where this goes. And I brought along a lot of examples so that you can see what other people are doing, a lot of best practices, and a lot of hot tips along the way. And at the end, I'm going to ask you what your favorite nugget is. So make sure you have one ready. I guess it's my responsibility to make sure you have one ready and that I've given you something good to look at. So it looks like there's a nice variety of people, a couple of years looking to amplify. All events need to get better at sponsors. A large part of our budget, we've seen a decrease in the previous years. Okay, get it. I totally get it. Annual meeting, exhibitor fees. There's a nice variety here. So thank you. Let's talk about event fundraisers. Event fundraisers are effective, not just to fill the budget, but also to fill the hearts and fund the programs. So if you go into your event thinking about that, I'll flip to the next slide and it talks about raising money and raising awareness. Your event is a two-pronged process, two purposes. And so if you go into that thinking, okay, I want to raise money, but I also want people to know more about our programs. I want more people to know about our programs. Then you're headed in the right direction because it's twofold for that. Flipping into the next page. In order to have your event, you want to fill the seats, right? Got to have the right people in the room. And filling the seats is going to give you the the product for which you are then going to sell your sponsorships for. Your sponsorship people want to know who's going to be in the room, how are they going to be visualizing, seeing the sponsorships, how are they going to be interacting with that? Because we're going to talk about activation as we go along. So I want you to think about who's coming in and how you're filling those seats. You want to have a realistic ticket price. If you can hang out on that previous page, that'd be great. You want to have a realistic ticket price so that people say, yes, I want to come to that event. You want to have an irresistible event. Oh my gosh, last year you whatever amazing stuff you had, and I want to come again. The best way to fill your seats is to have a great program last year and tell people about that program last year because you want to create that fear of missing out. And then, you know what? I want to come to that next one. When is it? Save the date. I'm going to put it in my calendar. A lot of organizations will honor an influencer. When you're honoring an influencer, it broadens your scope and it opens up their Rolodex. You can tell how old I am, right? Talking about Rolodexes. Maybe your contact list is a better way to talk about it, but that influencer opens up a whole lot more doors, whether it be to other influencers, whether it be to their audience, whether it be to people that are above and below that, and then also horizontally from them. So honoring an influencer can be a huge benefit. And then you also have your board members. They have a circle of influence. I know this isn't new to you. However, when you're filling the seats, you want that board member, they're the line leader. They should be showing people what they should be doing, when they should be showing up, when they should be raising their bid cards, paddle raises, etc. But if you start calling your board member a circle of influence to them, then they're going to start knowing that's what they are responsible for. So it's all about naming sometimes. And then, of course, social media is a great way to expand your reach for your event fundraiser so that you can sell the tickets and fill the seats. So, moving on to the next page, an excellent guest experience is not optional. So, pinky swear with me here. No cruddy events. We're going to have awesome events. We're going to have good looking events and we're going to have good experiences for our guests from the very moment you send them a save the date, from the very moment you give them a link to your website where they're picking a seat, where they are buying a ticket, where they are sharing a ticket with their friends. You want that guest experience to be flawless and easy. So the left-hand side, I brought along a couple images and I was talking about that fear of missing out. These people are having fun at this event. They're gathering with their friends with their head. There was a champagne dress lady that was walking around there. The one in the bottom, there was a 70s activity, golf events, pickleball events. There's all sorts of events, and each one will appeal to different people. So you have your competitors that want to come to a golf event and a pickleball event. You have your people that want to have fun and be party goers as well as givers, because you want to have both of those overlap at your event because it is a fundraiser and you want to make money. Okay, shifting on, talking about honorees to promote and expand the audience. And the reason I'm spending so much time on the audience is because you have to have people in the seats in order to sell your sponsorship. So I want to make sure that you don't have your cart before the horse and you have those seats filled with the proper people. Because when you go to your sponsors and you tell them who's going to show up and who's going to be in those seats, this is a great way to share that with them so that they know what to expect when they're purchasing a sponsorship. So having an honoree and having somebody that is highly regarded in the community is a brilliant way to do that. Moving on to the Medic One Gala. Here's another couple images. We're filling the seats because we are talking about our cause. These people care about Medic One. They care about the Bellevue Fire Department. In this event that GFS put on, they brought in the entire fire truck into the room. Again, fear of missing out. Look, even the big kids like to touch a fire truck, right? We have it for kiddie events all the time. So those are things that you're filling the room with the right people because those sponsors are going to spend those dollars with you. Moving on, people will always gather. I want you to bust out of your ordinary calendar where you think you can only do a gala event on a Friday or a Saturday night. Dates and times are very elastic right now. And this gets you moving out of competing with everybody else that's trying to do the same exact gala on the same exact couple weekends in the fall and the spring. The times and dates have expanded tremendously. Almost any day of the week works. For the length of time, you want it to be shorter if it's in person. If it's online, you can go a little longer. Your tournament play can be scheduled throughout the week, and almost any day and any time works, and year round works. We are seeing fundraisers go. We used to have a really big bump in the fall and a really big bump in the spring, and everybody would be competing for the same exact events. That doesn't happen anymore. Spread this out throughout the entire year and you will see how many different people show up to your different events. Test stuff out. Ask people after they've attended your event, would you come on so and so date or so and so month? I think you'd be surprised. So we see events moving almost into Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and even Sundays. And we see them happening all year round. We do see a bump. However, we see plenty of time throughout the rest of the months. And then unique events attract unique audiences. Again, the people that you get in the room is going to give you an opportunity to sell your sponsorships. And you can do all sorts of audiences for your sponsorships. And it doesn't have to be just your big gala or just your big tournament or just your big marquee event. If you have smaller events also, bingo, golf tournaments, pickleball, community events, walks, runs, a standalone event to build community in the school, whether it be a talent show or a spelling bee or school and math and science nights or carnival events. All those are sellable. Every single solitary one of them. So if you think, oh, we just have sponsors for this event and oh, that's just a little event. Nobody's going to want to sponsor it. You know what? Yes, they are. Your audience is a valuable resource for your sponsors. Your sponsors want to be associated with you because of your cause, but they also want to be able to be in front of your audience, and you're providing that for them. So shifting down to your mission is the moment. You know that donors are getting because they want their money being spent to make a real difference in the communities. And guess what? That's true for the sponsors also. The moment that matters is that mission moment, whether it happens during a paddle race or throughout winning a bid, but it also happens when you're selling your sponsorships. So if you've created that video that you're going to have in your mission moment, if you have the one from your previous event, if you have your testimonials, now is the time to pull those out and share those with your sponsors as you are asking people to sponsor your event fundraiser. So dust those off, grab those testimonials and use them because sponsors want to be part of something larger than themselves. And that's an opportunity to do. Okay, just talking about some revenue boosters. So we're talking about sponsorships, and sponsorships can be tied into your admission tickets also. Heed this warning though. If your sponsorship includes a table of tickets, but that sponsor is just going to send random people to that table, you do not want to put them front and center up in the front of the room. So you want to make sure that you are strategic when you're talking to your sponsor about filling those tables after they're sold. And maybe they're just purchasing that because that's the highest amount or that's what you've offered them. We're going to talk about some sponsorship packages later. Really talk to your sponsor and ask them what's their goal and what are they trying to accomplish? Because that's the last thing you want to have is a dead zone of a table where a sponsor is. If they are filling them with the right people, that's awesome too. And you want to make sure that you thank them. You want to make that a VIP table, maybe some special champagne or some wine, maybe a different color tablecloth. Recognize those sponsors, give them that VIP experience because if you do, then they'll come back the following year. So you all build upon each other. And your admissions and your sponsorships, that's for your tournaments, your players, as well as your spectators. And proper recognition and follow through is so vital throughout the entire process. And then just for some other revenue boosters at the event, you can have your online, your auctions. Sometimes some sponsors will underwrite some of your auction items if you're doing trips or travel or a big a big raffle where you're doing a jumbo raffle, a big gift card, something like that, underwriting that some of the sponsors will want to do. Some of the sponsors may want to do a matching gift at a paddle raise level. Some of them may want to underwrite some of the dessert dash. Some of them want to be involved in the games and drinks and wine walls. And I'll bring you some of those examples as we go. Shifting along, like I talked about, is having your sponsors be able to have a great experience from start to finish, as well as your guests. So that is, and it's absolutely necessary that you make it easy. So if you have your tickets and your sponsorships available on your website, then those cash registers are open 24 hours a day. Somebody can come in, grab their sponsorship, they can add their logo, and then they have instantaneous recognition on your event website. Whether you use Octria, that's super easy. If you're using another one, please take this tip and put it in your pocket because it's so important that sponsors be able to work with you easily to make the purchase and then have that instant recognition because sponsors beget sponsors. When one sponsor sees another sponsor or a potential sponsor and they see how quickly you're recognizing them, you're putting them on the website, you're thanking them on social media, you're tagging them, then they're going to be like, you know what? This organization has their act together. I'm going to sponsor them because I think I'm going to heed, I'm going to have a benefit out of it. And then as well as you do, that will give you the opportunity for the next year for them to re-up on their sponsorship and to purchase at an even higher sponsorship. So on 16, I have the next page, I have some examples of some ways that your sponsors can be recognized. They could be at a wine wall. This one in particular, I cropped it the wrong way. Sorry about that. There was a sponsor for this wine wall here, and that person underwrote the wine for that wine wall. So at that moment in time, when they're purchasing the wine, the sponsor has already paid for the majority of that wine. So all that those proceeds are going back to the organization. And that can be an in-kind donation or it can be a cash donation. Don't be afraid of the in-kind donations. They're very generous. And just for fun, I put on here and you can give a sponsor a drink type, a drink name, a specialty drink. The US Open did this with their honey balls and they've sold millions and millions and millions of dollars just on these drinks. But if you are willing to name a drink after a sponsor, every time somebody comes up and asks for a super duper lemonade from the Realty Group, they're putting that name out there over and over again. So any opportunity you have where somebody's interacting, you can name and you can sell that as a sponsor. Okay, so moving on. Who and why are they sponsoring? Let's go on to the next page and talk about events or activators. There's a couple different types of people that come to your event. You've got your philanthropists, you've got your competitive bidders, you've got your gamblers, your shoppers, as well as your staff and volunteer. And each one is there because internally, that's how they want to connect. That's how they want to use their money and make a difference. Coming to the next page, now we're talking about sponsors. Sponsors are loyal supporters. People come to the event to reconnect with you and your cause, and this is your opportunity to reinforce and re-engage those supporters. Your business sponsors are going to meet those supporters, those guests of those people that are new to the community. And they're seeing it through a different lens because now I'm seeing this sponsor as somebody that's coming in and putting out their dollars and saying, "Yes, I want to sponsor this school. I want to sponsor this cause." And it just cues people up in a different mindset. I can't tell you how many restaurants I've tried because they've donated to our school or to some of the charities that I'm working on because I knew that they cared about it also. And I, in turn, wanted to support them. So that's the mindset that your business sponsors are in. Okay, let's talk about sponsorship activation. Could these bears be any cuter? So, this is the Alaska Zoo with the annual summer fundraising gala. And you can see they've got their sponsorships logos on the right hand side. And this is how they did a lot of their marketing. Every time they had a top tier sponsor, their logo got on this page. And as it builds, remember I said this builds from year to year and from moment to moment, sponsors beget sponsors. Once they see others on there, they will activate others just organically, just naturally. So having that logo on your promotional materials, your social media, your website, your emails, people will get those. They'll get the save the dates, they'll get the notes that you're sending that says, "Thank you so much, ConocoPhillips, for being a partner, a sponsor. If you would also like to be a sponsor, please let us know." So it builds upon itself and it builds upon itself. So I hope you use that energy for that first sponsor to get the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. Let's talk about effective sponsorship packages. Sponsorships now, sponsor now, and you can build the relationship. You want to build lasting relationships. You need to have your sponsors nurtured and connected to your cause. And they're only going to be nurtured and connected if you're pushing that information out to them. They're not going to go on the website and read the whole about us and what your most recent programs are. They will you when you first send them the sponsorship package. But after that, it's going to be your responsibility to continue to build that relationship. And this all starts with the way you structure your sponsorships and how you activate them throughout and continue to reactivate them. So, knowing your audience, you want to recognize the market and the unique value of your audience so that you're telling your sponsors about it. It's going to be families, it's going to be seniors, it's going to be people that love the opera, it's going to be people that love the zoo, it's going to be people that are helping out with the charter school. Frame that sponsorship and the donors as heroes in the event. And to be honest with you, you guys are the heroes also. You have capes on your back because you're the ones that are giving these people an opportunity to sponsor and donate for this event. And you want to highlight these sponsors everywhere you promote the event, literally everywhere. Social media, your ticket notifications, your emails, and you also want to showcase any auction packages if they're being underwritten to build that excitement. Moving on, this is just another indication of how you can set up your sponsorship sales online. I just used the generic gold, silver, and bronze. However, I'm going to ask you to try to find some ways that they are more meaningful to your cause, that have some names that match up. This next page is a little more generic also. This is a sponsorship packet that was provided for Clark County for healthcare access. They went a little more generic. They went to presenting sponsor, a partner, an advocate, and a friend. But what the important part here is, you can see they go from the most expensive to the least. But I want you to be flexible also in how you work with your businesses because not one size fits all. They may say, okay, I want to be a presenting sponsor, but I don't necessarily need a full ticket of tables. So you want to have that conversation with them. It's not just send them a packet and hope for the best. That should be a conversation that's happening between you and the sponsor and be flexible. The next page has another sponsorship group. And this one is for the hard of hearing and deaf children in Spokane. And I know it's a little small, however, they always do a Western theme. So they do the ruby buckle, the sapphire buckle, the platinum buckle, and it includes different things on it. And you can just see from left to right the amount of wagon wheels. And the higher the amount, the more wagon wheels they have. They have table signs, they're included in the slideshow, logos, social media, logo on the venue wall. Immersion is so 2026 right now. Acknowledgement from the stage, logo on any billboards, and an opportunity to distribute branded items to all guests. So whether that be at check-in or check out or a goodie bag at the end, some sort of way to give a takeaway. And then they do offer some complimentary seats, like I had suggested, make sure that the right people are in those seats. And here's another one. I love a First Tee. They do amazing work. This is First Tee of Jersey, and they do an incredible job in sponsorships, and they will sell any sponsor to anything, anywhere. They sell sponsorships to teas and holes. Okay, we all know about that one, right? The cigar lounge, the breakfast nook, the champagne pickup area, the valet, the front seat, the back seat, a cigar station, you name it, if it is around, she will sell it. And all of these have come about from natural conversations that she's had with sponsors. They've talked to sponsors, hey, how about this? How about that? And they say, what else are you doing? Where else can we sponsor? And that's where the cigar station has happened. That's where an ice cream truck has happened. Each of these are important to that sponsor at that moment. And so creating a sponsorship program that matches is incredibly beneficial. So here's another one. We're talking about generating revenue. So we talked about our galas. We talked about some tournaments. How about a pickleball tournament? Organizations are very smart if they're bringing in activities where people are moving, where there's some physicality, because now you're bringing in the competitive group, you're bringing in the spectators, and generating revenue for these is another opportunity to access different sponsors. So when you have a venue at a golf course or a pickleball court, you find vendors that match your mission, but also that want to access people that are playing golf, that are playing pickleball, that are active. Within that event, like I said, you can have your people that are playing in the event, but you also have your spectators. And for your spectators, it's really good to have sponsors such as credit unions, banks love to be there, realtors love to be there, businesses that you're already doing business with, but also businesses that your people that are participating in the tournament are doing business with. And it's okay to ask them, hey, you signed up for a foursome. Hey, you signed up for a tournament. By chance, do you know anybody that want to sponsor? And I guarantee you that they will. You just keep asking, you keep pecking, do you know anybody that knows anybody? And it will unfurl and they'll make recommendations and references, because if they're coming to the event and they believe in it, then it just transfers that familiarity and sell everything again, whether it be the first aid station, the check-in, the officiating, the raffles, anything that's around can be sold as a sponsorship. And then on the next page, we're so lucky to have Alex Durant from Durant Consulting with us here at Octria recently, and we're talking exactly about sponsorships. And this is her hot tip. She says, structuring your sponsorship, don't just list the benefits, bundle them strategically. And what she means by that is offering the escalating value across the tiers. Also, you can have kind of an a la carte mode where somebody may not want the tickets. However, they do want to have access to the VIP room, something along those lines. So allow them to say, okay, I want to spend X amount of dollars, but I want this and this or that and that. And all that happens throughout the conversations, especially with your premier sponsors, your more higher tier sponsors. And another way to talk to people about this is, who was your sponsor last year? Make sure throughout the year you tell them where those funds were spent. Then you now have permission the next year to ask them about sponsoring. And at that point in time, ask them, is there anything else in the room that you would want to sponsor? Is there any other way that you would want to have exposure to our audience? And listen to them. And if it's something that you think that you can offer, then there's definitely a premium for that. Okay, this ties back to the storytelling. The storytelling is your mission moment that silences the room. But also, storytelling in sponsorship is absolutely vital and does not stop when the event ends. So, your last event is extremely important that you continue that storytelling throughout, because it is a continuous cycle. So, this slide, we're talking about reframing fundraising as storytelling. And you're probably like, girl, what are you talking about? We're talking about sponsors. Everything comes back to your mission and storytelling. You want to talk in a manner that humans are wired to embrace. Fewer facts, more narrative. So this isn't just for donors. This is also for your sponsors. When you're talking to them about sponsorship, you're talking to them about a philanthropic cause, and you're offering them an opportunity to bring a story to a happy ending. So if you can illustrate that in your sponsor packet or on your sponsorship page, right where you're selling your sponsors, you're going to have a really good match on how to have your sponsors be motivated to select, yes, I want to help. So stories and sponsorships are going to be vital at every touch point. Think about every touch point that a guest interacts with you during a ticket sale, during a sponsorship sale, when you're recognizing the sponsor. Storytelling. You're telling the sponsor, oh, your sponsorship is $10,000. This will feed this many, educate that many, help us research this many more hours of research. What is that sponsorship dollars going to do? And then, so that's the when. And then the where is social media, your emails, your transactional, spelled wrong. Sorry for the typo. Transactional communications. When you're sending out, whether, it be an app notification or a statement or a piece of information that has know before you go as you come to the event, have the sponsors on there too, and continue to repeat that over and over. Have the screens big for your cocktail and your connection area and from the screen. Moving on, people connect with people. This is an indelible image of Spokane Parasport, and they are athletes that compete, and they are an incredible group. They all wear red. When they do their event, their sponsors know that this is the group that we are connecting with. So this ties back to the storytelling, showing them where their dollars are going. At the event, each of these athletes come to the table, and they come to the table with the donors. And if that sponsor is at that table and this person comes over and thanks them personally, thank you for sponsoring. I appreciate you buying this table. It allows me to, whatever that is just an absolute eyeball to eyeball connection, because people connect with people. And then going back into the sponsorship recognition, this is both online and intangible interactions, like I just talked about, with them coming to the individual tables. But technically, you can do, or using some tech, you can use interactive displays, have your ambassadors at your tables ready to share their personal why with guests, because people connect with people. And moving on for sponsorship recognition everywhere. Put on your marketing hat. This is your B2B part because sponsors beget sponsors. So have them on your website. Make sure you thank them. The most important thing on social media, if they are active on social media, tag them. Once they're tagged on it, they can share it a lot easier. It'll ping up as a notification on their social media. Don't just assume that they're keeping an eye on your social media and going to reshare stuff. The next image is another sponsorship activation. So if you have a sponsor that is underwriting some of your drinks, your cocktails, or your champagne VIP line or your early registration line, go ahead and put a card on that champagne, not teapot, what do you call it? Hand tray. That card will recognize that sponsor, and I guarantee you that sponsorship will sell out first. And that's a very popular one. And the start is not the finish. Events grow over time and sponsorships grow over time. So if I move on to the next slide, no is not always a no, maybe a second no, maybe a yes. If you continue to find out, talk to them. If they love your cause and they are connected with it, then continue to give them updates about all the work that you're doing and how incredible the activities are. Because no's can be maybes and then they can eventually turn into yeses. And then small yeses are awesome too, because a lot of small yeses turn into a big yes. You add all those up, you've got a nice chunk of money at the end of the day that is supporting your cause. So don't be worried about, oh my gosh, our sponsors are so small, or we're just starting out. I don't know how much I can ask for. That's all good. That's all good because a bunch of small yeses become a big yes. And then those yeses can also expand to bigger yeses. And then let the stewardship begin. At the end of the event, it is the beginning of the relationship between you and the sponsor. You want to thank them, pick up the phone and call them and thank them. Handwritten notes, postcards. You want to share the results, not just the totals. Oh, we made X amount of dollars. But where are those dollars going? We are able to send this many kids to camp. We are able to buy this many laptops for the school. And what are the results for that? Because we can buy those laptops, the grades for each student went from a minus C average to a B plus. What are the results? And then continue on social media past the deliverable date. You're surprising and you're delighting these sponsors. Can you go back, Allie, one and keep that on there? You want to continue to surprise them. They only expect you to thank them up through the event. If you thank them a month later or 2 months later, hey, those dollars have come in and now we're seeing the results of it. And because so and so has made this sponsorship for us, while we're seeing the payoff for that and tagging them on it, they'll be surprised. They'll say, oh my gosh, you still care about us? You still remember that we gave the dollars? We thought you moved on. You can schedule those in advance and you are maintaining that connection and sharing the ongoing programming activity. On the next page, it's really important that we talk about that post-event language, and photos are so vital to do that. It shows what happened at the event, and it gives them, like I said, you want to create an event from last year that people are going to want to come to. And on the next page, I'm talking about our sponsorships for a single event. And now I can convert those sponsors into a year-long business to business program. So that's what this school had done. They had their event. It was like $150 for people to sponsor the event, but they were able to sell their banner for thousands of dollars for an annual buy-in for these B2Bs, because now that business trusted this school and knew that those dollars were going to be used the right way, and they were going to reach the right people. So now I flip into a little bit of information about Octree. Now, Octree is built for soaring bids, crushing fundraising goals, and making people more aware of your cause. If you're looking for a software program for your events and auctions, come hang out with us. If you don't want to come and hang out with us directly, you can hang out with our Facebook group, Auction Team Talk, on the next page. This is the nicest page on Facebook. It's people like you that are running events and auction fundraisers. All sorts of conversations happen there. People are asking each other about sponsorships and ticket sales and tournaments and all sorts of fun things. It really is a nice community. And should you want to learn more about Octree, on the next page, we are active on social media: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. There is an events directory on the Octree website where you can see what hundreds and hundreds of organizations are doing for their events at this moment in time. And you can always connect with our team, hello@octree.com, or scan that QR code. I think I probably filled your head with a lot of stuff. I hope I didn't overwhelm you. I'd love to pop into the chat and the question queue. Eli, did anything come in as I try
Yeah,
and
I've
catch
got a
up
number of
here?
questions here to start us off. And in the meantime, everyone, dive right into the chat and throw your questions in there. But Lori, I'm not seeing any exploding head emojis. So I think you haven't done anything too lasting, too
You're doing
dangerous here. So yeah, I've got a couple questions here. Question one comes from Nicole, who says, we live in this post-pandemic world where everyone is zoomed out. Online events are sometimes hard to get people excited about them. Can you talk a little bit more about why you think you actually get away with doing longer online events?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me clarify that. When I meant online longer events, I meant for a longer auction or a longer donation period or a longer peer to peer, not necessarily a virtual online. And here's what I always suggest: when you're doing something like that, like a peer to peer or an auction or somewhere where it's donations or a donation, uh, Giving Tuesday, something along those lines. You want to have you want to be able to hit two of your regular communication cycles. So if you're a school and you backpack home to the kids every single Friday, you want to hit at least two of those Fridays. If you're a church and you guys all gather on Sundays, you want to hit two Sundays for sure. If you are whatever your regular communication cycles, you want to hit two of those big ones. So that's what I mean by a longer event. You don't want to go past those. You want to have a little bit of a margin on each one of them, a little bit of padding, but that's what I mean by that. So yes, if you were doing a Zoom, for sure, short, tight, as short as you can. But for online, especially peer to peer, where people are asking other people to donate on their behalf because they love the cause, that sort of thing, you need some time to ramp up. And with those, you're always going to see a huge flurry of activity in the beginning. It will plateau off. It's an upside down bell curve. And then there'll be a huge flurry at the end, because that's when people really take advantage of that last minute and that scarcity, and they want to get in on the action.
Which brings us then to a related question coming in from Jack Higgins, who says, hybrid events, worth the hassle or run screaming from them?
So many people have different definitions of hybrid. I'm going to tell you what I think the best scenario is for a hybrid event. And then Jack can either run for the hills or come along for the ride and the party. If you have an event that already has a lot of people attending, you want to maximize that. You want to maximize that fundraising event. And I tend to lean to auctions. It could be a carnival at a school. It could be a tile night at a school, an arts and crafts. It could be seeing the Christmas trees down at the city square, whatever it is, wherever people are coming and hanging out. You can do it two ways, where people can come, scan a QR code, make a donation. However, they can also donate online. So then you are reaching double audience. People that are there in person can instantaneously make a bid, they can make a purchase, they can make a donation, they can interact. And then people that you're reaching out to through your donor base, through your CRM, through your social media, have the ability to. So it's the best of both worlds. That's my kind of hybrid event that I think can knock it out of the park.
Fabulous. coming in from London Ray, who asks, is there an ideal length for a sponsorship packet? And what are like the key components that must be in that packet?
That's a really good question. And you'll be able to modify your packet once you start using it. And then you start to get feedback, and then you add on and you expand. I would start with five. I would start with five levels. You want to have that super low level, a buy in. You're probably your average two. And then you want to have a reach. You absolutely want to have at least one or two of the reaches. So you can put that middle one in the middle. And I would put at the top of the middle one, most people choose this one. You want to direct them. You want to tell them. You want to lead them along. If you were on a pricing page on a shoe store area, most people are buying the blue shoes or whatever it is. Most people are buying the middle level, and have that reach out there so that you know what? We love your cause. They were a sleeper before you didn't even know about, and ask them for it. So I would start with 5. And then there was a second part to that question, Eli.
We're really just about the length and the core components. I think you really perfect.
I would
So,
try to get it onto one page if you can.
that's interesting. A related question that comes from that is, should you have a publicly available like menu of your sponsorship options, or do you want to always create a bespoke version for each lead that you're working with?
I would have a generic sponsorship package. You want to create the least amount of work for yourself also, right? However, I would have on there, talk to us about custom packages, because you're going to have a conversation with somebody if they want to do that. And put on there, we have different ideas. We could have, because you only have one cigar room, you only have one valet, you only have one thing. And that's why an online sponsorship actually gives you a lot more benefits, because you can pick it, you can put a lot more on there, but you can set it as a quantity of one. So as long as once somebody buys that, it's gone and it's sold out. And there's nothing like a sold out button on something to get other people to buy something. So on your sponsorship package, if you're printing it out on paper, try and keep it to one page. If you're doing something online, you have a great opportunity to have a lot more information on it, and it's not going to cost you anything to put those up online.
Love it. But having something that runs out is important.
Big
Great. So
time.
I've got a question coming in from Chris who says, since we added a gala, we're not getting as many annual sponsorships. What are the ways I can avoid competition between the many asks my organization may have?
Okay, but you're not getting as many annual sponsorships. So people are spending the money in the room
I think what I'm
instead
hearing is,
of,
yeah, like like the gala is now taking up the sponsorship energy and they're like, oh, I want to sponsor that instead. And so the old ask they had is no longer as compelling, maybe.
that's an interesting observation. Is it the number of people, or is it those particular people? Have you run those numbers? What I have found is sometimes it's a completely different group of people that come to the gala as to a completely different group of people that are giving us on a monthly or an annual basis. And if those are different audiences, then you're probably going to want to evaluate why those people have dropped off. So dig into that a little more and learn a little bit more about your data. If it actually is an overlap, these 200 people don't give online anymore, but they do come. The question is, are you making the same amount of money or are you not? What is that gala actually worth it? Are we better off with a smaller luncheon event? That sort of thing. So dig into your data a little more. And you know what? It's okay to pick up the phone and ask people too. The more you find out about your members, your donors directly, the better off you're going to have information to make educated decisions moving forward.
Love it. So here's a question coming in from London who says, so should we always have our sponsorship opportunities online on a page or like where should this be placed?
I love having it online on a page, because you never know when somebody's going to click versus hand delivering them a piece of paper or mailing it to them. Are they going to open it? Are they not going to open it? You can still do that. However, have it online, because This one may not give it to that one. So many people are working remote now. Eli and I are hanging. We're working together. It's so much easier for me to say, "Hey, Eli, here's the link. Check it out. Let's discuss it," kind of thing. And absolutely online for sure.
Awesome. And maybe coming in towards the very end, we might have time for one more question after this. So dive into the chat. And so the question is, what are some of the unique best practices for soliciting sponsorships for online events like a conference?
Online events, then the people that are sponsoring that need to have an online presence. So trying to talk somebody, a brick and mortar, into an online sponsorship probably isn't going to work. So you want to at least start off with somebody that has an online presence, that understands digital marketing themselves. And then you're fishing in a bucket because then you're talking to people that understand that value.
Lovely. That's really good. And I think I'm also seeing a great comment here that comes in from Lundy who says, so what I'm hearing here is having more and better open conversations with your sponsors and donors about what they want is the way to go. And we shouldn't just assume about their needs.
Ding, ding, ding. You got it, London.
Amazing. Then with that, we are coming up towards the end. I just want to say, Lori, thank you so much. So many great ideas that I am harvesting and bringing into my next world of work. I get really excited about, oh, I could sponsor a cocktail at my event and have that as my name. What a fabulous idea. I'm totally stealing that for my next event. I love that. And there were dozens more like that. So luckily, the event has been recorded. The slides will be shared. All of that will come to you. You'll probably see it tomorrow morning in your email. So you'll be able to go through and share some of this information with your colleagues. But in the meantime, um, you should all go and have a lovely afternoon. Lori, you should go relax and enjoy the sunshine. And
Will do.
and we hope to see you again in the future because this was fascinating. I'm really grateful that you were able to give your time today. Oh,
Thank
there we
you.
go.